Anthony Lyons, you have a date for us on the helicopter program?
At last count, we've got 146 students in our helicopter training program.
How many?
146 at all locations. That's all locations together. We have all of the furniture has been installed in the new office that we have in the municipal airport building in Scottsdale, and we're moving right along with regard to that. And you may remember that, and we proposed to launch our professional pilot program out of that location. So we haven't begun operations there yet, but we plan to begin operations out of there in January. You may remember that I talked a couple of months ago about the fact that our flight students are having the same type of difficulties that our on-campus students have with math, English. Geography seems to be a problem subject for them, and meteorology. So what we propose to do is to hire adjunct professors in Scottsdale to begin teaching these courses face-to-face in the spring. That's what we need for these students that have a difficulty learning online. I mean, some of these things, if I had to take college algebra right now online, I'm not like President Woodburn. It would kick me really bad. So I feel for these young men. And our meteorology course, we've got a very fine instructor. Jim Johnson teaches that for us. He's not only a pilot, but he's a retired weather service man, and his course is a tough course. It needs to be tough because weather is critical to flight operations, and particularly helicopter flight operations. But it's being taught online, and these students need face-to-face instruction. I wanted to also report to you that the Higher Learning Commission is going to visit the Prescott, Scottsdale, and Camarillo locations in November, and they're sending a gentleman to verify that the facilities are what we've said they are and that we're doing what we said that we were going to do. We don't anticipate any problems at all. When we had a consultant who we took out there in July who's piloting an adjunct professor evaluation process. Well, actually we're calling it a observation process, aren't we, instead of evaluation. And Thad went with us, Danny Clark went with us, and they were extremely impressed with the quality of instruction that's going on there. Sue Jenkins is our consultant, and she is a very well qualified lady. She knows education and learning, and she was just blown away at what's going on out there. So I think that the visit will go just fine, and that you all can be proud of what we're doing out there in pilot training. Does anyone have a comment or question?
I would just say that I think once we get the pilot fixed wing programs going, I think the thing that will follow will be the mainframe and the maintenance, and I think that this total flight program that Anthony has developed and supported can really make a difference for our college down the road.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you saying that, and I believe that's true. And I just want to make a comment that I guess I'm not so passionate about necessarily training the students of Arizona or California or Utah as I am. I'm passionate about us being entrepreneurial. so that regardless of how many students that we have right here in Dodge City, that we can provide the very best possible facilities and education that they can get anywhere. That's what my passion is about, and it's directly related to what we're doing that's entrepreneurial. Thank you. Sir.
But what's the status of the situation with the Oklahoma region of the VA?
They have, the VA relieved everyone that we have been dealing with in Muskogee. The director of the facility, and they have the entire western region, including Phoenix. The assistant director, all of the middle management people that we were talking to have all been replaced. And the new people are there. If they are half as compassionate about our situation as they sound, this thing is going to finally get resolved. I did get an email just a couple of days ago. I forwarded it to President Woodburn. Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, who is our partner there in Prescott, received a compliance review just a week before ours, back in November of 2012, and they have been relieved of all responsibility for any debt. All the debt letters were canceled, and the VA agreed to pay them for the additional charges that those students involved in that compliance review incurred to finish their program. I fully expect that that is exactly the way that our situation is going to be resolved.
What is the amount of money we're talking about?
About $700,000.
And that's in a reserve fund at this time?
I'm expecting a check that'll take it. We closed out at around $500,000, and I'm expecting a check in next month, 4 weeks, that will take us to the $700,000. So
you reserve $500,000?
right now, But then after $700,000, I can start releasing the
And
money.
excuse me, did you finish?
Go ahead.
We will actually, we've been waiting to bill the VA for additional funds that our students incurred to finish their program. So they're going to end up owing us money, I think is what's going to happen, because that's the way it happened with Embry-Riddle. And we have been right all along.
So there's nothing that needs to change in the future to avoid that kind of an issue? Is that what you're saying, Anthony? We're not changing what we're doing?
There may be changes, but what we've been told is that one of the things that happened with the VA due to not only health care but education is that they've centralized a lot of the decision making in their central office in Washington, D.C. These regional directors don't have the authority to make some of the decisions they used to make, and we keep hearing that we're going to eventually be issued guidance about how exactly they expect us to operate helicopter and other flight training programs, and we have asked to be a part of that decision making. So we're kind of on hold right now.
All the responses I've seen from them have been very positive.
Yes.
And it wasn't at all like it was with Muskogee before.
That's right. I can sleep at night now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, or Anthony, sorry, professional pilot program associated with
Sure.
flight science.
I recommend that Chairman Cornell, I recommend that we approve this program.
Okay. Anthony, do you have any things to comment on or present to us?
Yes. I would just point out that we intend to begin professional pilot fixed-wing operations here in Dodge City and in Scottsdale in the spring semester. And we're doing this partially in response to the city of Dodge City. If you all have flown out of Dodge City this year, you may understand the problem with professional pilot situation. The FAA began requiring co-pilots or first officers to sit in the left seat of an airplane to have at least 1,500 hours of pilot in command time. Well, most of those young pilots that we had flying for Great Lakes in that seat had maybe 200-300 or so when they started, and it really put them out on the street. And as a result, about half of the flights scheduled out of Dodge City this year have not materialized because of pilot shortage. So what we intend to do, and we're not going to solve the world's problems, but we're going to try to solve as many as we can. So what we're going to do is kind of emulate our helicopter pilot program. We're going to train professional pilots to be certified flight instructor instrument pilots, and we will hire them when they graduate from the program. They'll go to work for us. When they get their 1,500 hours, they can continue to make a career out of pilot training, or they can go into the commercial pilot industry. Right now, we still have no unemployed graduates from our helicopter program, and we think that we can continue to supply pilots. I thought that you might be interested in the budget that we put together for the first year. I'm basing this on a head count of 50 pilots, which I think is very conservative, at 600 credit hours, and salaries of up to $69,000. Other expenses in the amount of up to $14,800. We would have expenses with higher learning commission, some travel, maybe some things like that. That would be a total cost for the first year of $83,800. We would have revenue of $48,000 in tuition and fees and $150,000 in aviation fees for a total of $198,000 budget, and we would net $114,200. And again, I believe this is a very conservative budget. Any questions or comments?
I like your budget.
Thank you.
All right. So is there a motion? Been
I'll
recommended.
move approval, Mr. Chairman. I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your hand. And opposed, same sign. That motion carries.